All right, let me ask you something. What's the single most important piece of software on your computer? It's not your operating system, it's not some fancy video editor. Nope, it's your web browser. It's how we live our lives online, but it's also, by far, our biggest weakness. So let's figure out how to lock that thing down.
So just how big of a weakness are we talking about? Well, get this. According to the latest security reports, a massive 80% of all malware gets to us through our web browsers. Think about that. The app we use for everything, our banking, our social lives, our work, is literally the main superhighway for cybercriminals to drive right into our digital lives. You know, a good way to think about it is like this. Your browser is the front door to your digital house. Now, you wouldn't leave your actual front door unlocked when you go out, right? Of course not. But how many of us are leaving our digital one completely wide open? That's the real question we need to answer.
Okay, so before we can start bolting the locks, we have to know what we're up against. Who's trying to jiggle the handle. So let's dive in and take a look at the most common threats that are aimed right at our browsers today.
And what's wild is how normal these things are. I mean, take phishing. We've all gotten that sketchy email from our bank with a link to a fake website. That's a critical risk right there. Or how about malicious extensions? You download what you think is a helpful little tool, but in the background, it's a digital pickpocket grabbing your data. This isn't some abstract futuristic threat. This stuff is happening to people every single day. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. Not at all. The really good news is that your browser isn't just sitting there helpless. Modern browsers come packed with some pretty powerful built-in shields right out of the box. Let's take a look at our first line of defense. So whether you're Team Chrome, Team Firefox, or Team Edge, you've already got a great security foundation. Chrome has its safe browsing that screams at you if you try to visit a dodgy site. Firefox is an absolute beast at blocking trackers, and Edge is tied right into Microsoft's Defender Smart Screen. The bottom line is they all do a great job at the basics, but, and this is the important part, we can and we absolutely should build on top of that foundation. So let's get to it. It's time for our first level up, Essential Armor. Think of these as the absolute, non-negotiable steps that every single person using the internet needs to take. This is your baseline. And what's great is that these first steps are super simple. 1, always, and I mean always, update your browser. Those little updates aren't just for shiny new features, they're patching up security holes. 2, get a password manager. It's a game changer. 3, install an ad and tracker blocker. And 4, this one is huge. Check the permissions an extension asks for. Does a simple calculator extension really need permission to use your webcam? No.
And you can see how these directly fight the threats we just talked about. A password manager, like Bitwarden, for example, is brilliant against phishing. Why? Because it knows the real website address, so it won't autofill your password on a fake one. Boom! And an ad blocker like uBlock Origin, it stops those drive-by downloads from ever even loading. These aren't just tools, they're specific countermeasures to specific attacks.
Okay, level 1 complete. You've got your essential armor on. Now, for those of you who are a little more privacy-focused, or maybe you handle sensitive data for work, it's time to level up again. Let's talk about some more advanced defenses. First up is something called DNS-level protection. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but the idea is actually really straightforward. Think of DNS as the internet's address book. Well, protective DNS puts a security guard right at the front of that address book. If your computer tries to look up a known malicious site, the guard just says, nope, you can't go there, and blocks it before your browser is ever in danger. It's a filter for your entire network.
And the best part is how easy this is to set up. Services like Cloudflare, NextDNS, or Quad9 offer this for free. You can configure it on your computer, or even better, on your home router in just a few minutes. It is a fantastic set-it-and-forget-it security boost.
Now, if you want the absolute top-tier Fort Knox of browser security, we need to talk about browser isolation. Imagine this. Every time you open a browser tab, you're actually doing it in a secure, disposable room that's not even on your computer. If you click something nasty, who cares? It's trapped in that room. And when you close the tab, the entire room, along with the threat, just vanishes into thin air.
And that right there is its superpower. With isolation, it literally doesn't matter if you click on a malicious link or visit a compromised website. The threat is completely contained. Your actual computer, your files, your data, they stay perfectly safe and untouched. It just doesn't get more secure than this. All right, we have covered a ton of ground here, from the basic shields all the way to advanced fortifications. So let's pull it all together into a really clear, simple action plan so you can choose the level of protection that actually fits your life.
First up, level 1. This is the essential checklist. This is for everyone, no exceptions. Keep your browser updated, use a password manager, install uBlock Origin, enable 2FA on your important accounts, and be smart about extensions. This is your fundamental digital hygiene.
Next, moving up to level 2. This is for the more privacy-conscious folks. Here, you're going to add that DNS-level protection. You're going to block third-party cookies by default, and you'll get into the great habit of using separate browser profiles for work, personal stuff, and shopping to keep all that data separate. And finally, level 3, the advanced user. This is for people who need maximum security, maybe journalists, activists, or anyone managing high-value business assets. This is where you bring in the heavy hitters: browser isolation, advanced tools to stop fingerprinting, and physical hardware security keys for your most critical accounts. Ultimately, if you remember one thing from all of this, let it be this: browser security is not one size fits all. What you need depends completely on your personal threat model. Are you just a casual user, or are you protecting sensitive corporate secrets? The smartest way to stay safe is to match your defenses to your specific risks. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with this one thought. Your entire digital life, everything you do, everything you are online, is sitting right there behind that browser window. It's behind that digital front door. So after everything we've talked about today, the only question left is, who holds the key? The answer should be you, and now it can be.